Hola, hola, buenas noches y bienvenido una vez más a nuestro episodio de Buenas Noches Farcaster. Mi nombre es Alex o @what's good y me pueden conseguir ahí en Farcaster. Estoy hoy acompañado de mi compañero Rey, @CryptoWenMoon, y obviamente también con nuestro invitado especial, el señor de la noche, Mr. Lawson, Babe. Le voy a dar la palabra a mi compañero Rey para que le haga una pequeña introducción y ya después de ahí empezamos nuestro episodio de Buenas Noches Farcaster. Rey.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Gracias, Alex. Buenas noches, Farcaster. Saludos a todos, a los que nos escuchan hoy, que seguro esperaban un en vivo. Y hoy tenemos esta grabación sorpresa, pero acá estamos presentes con el amigo Lawson. Y le queremos dar la bienvenida y agradecerle por estar el día de hoy por acá. Hey, Lawson, how's it going?
¿Qué tal? Bien. Buenas noches, Farcaster.
Buenas noches, Farcaster. Bienvenido, Lawson. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Excited to be here. I knew we were doing the show in Spanish, but it's like being at home and where I'm at in Mexico right now. I listen a lot to the local radio, and so it's like I just didn't. It was cool. It's kind of putting two worlds together. Because the local radio station isn't chatting about Farcaster.
Yeah. Bueno, ahí lo escucharon. Lawson está en México y así que habla un poquito español. Se puede defender un poco.
Necesito muy practicar.
Lo único que habla Lawson es: me das por favor 4 tacos de barbacoa, mucho limón y un poquito picante.
Me gustaría un ribón de avocado para mi bebé.
Y una botella de tequila.
Una botella para mi amigo Alex.
Bueno, muchachos, para los que no saben, Lawson es amigo de nosotros. Ya lo hemos venido hablando de él en varios episodios, Rey y yo. Y Lawson, ya tenemos casi como alrededor de 4 años teniendo una amistad con él, una bonita amistad con él. Él es líder de varios proyectos también, pero el día de hoy vamos a hablar sobre un proyecto que él está liderando y este proyecto se llama Full Circle Show, ¿okay? Es lo que nos vamos a enfocar más que todo con él la noche de hoy y obviamente, bueno, los demás proyectos que él tiene en la mano, vamos a hablar con él en un segundo episodio en la cual ya él nos dijo que sí va a volver para ese otro episodio y hablar de los demás proyectos que él tiene en la mano, ¿verdad, Rey?
Exactamente, sí, así que pronto volveremos a tener a Lawson de invitado, así que bueno, no nos adelantemos mucho. Lawson, ¿qué nos puedes contar sobre ti para que la gente te conozca? Can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, a little intro. Again, thank you for letting me do this in English. I could probably answer a lot of these questions in like bare bones Spanish, but this is fun. So my name is Lawson.fm, and I'm a co-host of another late night show, FullCircle.fm. We are a live show that airs every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. We go live on Unlonely, which is like a Web3 Twitch, actually focuses a lot on the Farcaster community. But we also cross-stream it everywhere on X and YouTube and Instagram, kind of everywhere. But what I'm working on right now is really a next iteration of who I am and where I think this space is going. I was a founder of a social curation protocol called Ra, where Moon, Ray, and Alex were longtime community members. And I'm still building in the social space as well. And I sold that company to a company called Mass Network, which is basically a Web3 social conglomerate. We build in and around the Web3 social space, along with we invest a lot in the space. One of our biggest products, Firefly, is a aggregator of Lens, Farcaster, Twitter, and NFT activity, and articles on Paragraph and Mirror, and you name it. And so I run growth for Firefly along with all Mass products. But today I'm really here to really talk more about late night shows.
Awesome.
Buenas Noches Farcaster. I love that y'all are doing a late night show as well. We used to hang out a lot on Thursday nights.
Yes.
Every Thursday, I remember.
What did we call that? What was that show called?
Oh my God, that was
Let's Curate.
Let's curate Thursday. Yeah, let's curate Thursday. And I think that we followed that line ourselves with that because we were used to Thursdays So what we wanted to do is, we kind of follow it in Spanish, like, okay, well, let's go ahead and wait for everybody to get off of work and be, kind of relaxing at home and chill. So that way they can have time and listen to us. Because if they're at work, they're not going to have time to listen to us or be on our show, because obviously they're working and they're paying attention to something else. So, we wanted to go ahead and follow, let's curate Thursday nights to Friday, but, Buenas Noches Farcaster, to where people can just chill, have a wine, beer, whatever it is that they wanted to have, and just, listen to us and learn Web3 and cryptos.
Yeah, no, I think it's about the nighttime's a vibe, but I think Friday is cool, and I'm really excited to chat more about the show and you guys, kind of what you're thinking about your show relative to kind of what we're doing at Full Circle. I really learned a lot during the live events we were doing with Ra, and definitely have incorporated a lot of that with what we're doing with Full Circle, but also. Yeah, just trying to, the turn towards Lawson.fm is recognizing that, like, basically my online life and my IRL life had became out of sync. My online life was purely just founder and a person pushing out a product in the space, while my IRL life, I had turned into a huge music NFT collector. And so that's kind of where the FM comes from, combined with have just been making, for probably over a decade, just making all of my own versions of art. Started off as kind of like poetry and writing, and I still do a lot of writing in the space, but less writing than I used to. But now it's more turned towards just pure visual arts.
Awesome.
And the move towards Full Circle is like kind of just smashing that all into one thing. A lot of the segments I do on Full Circle are focused around new music NFT releases. I have some upcoming segments around just pure art being released as NFTs, along with artist profiles, talking to people who are creating cool stuff in the space, and in that process starting to share more of a lot of the art I've been creating all along.
Awesome.
Great.
Bueno,
para traducir un poco acá rápido lo que acaba de comentar Lawson, Lawson.fm, creador de Ra, que es un protocolo de curación social, ¿no? On-chain, de curar NFTs. Dice que el proyecto fue vendido a Mask Network y bueno, ahora también él es parte de Mask, que también está integrado a lo que es Firefly, donde pueden crear publicaciones y hacer un cross-post para lo que es Lens, Farcaster, Twitter, y también es un agregador de NFTs y artículos de, creo que dijo Paragraph y Mirror también. Entonces, todo eso lo pueden conseguir en la aplicación de Firefly también. Y bueno, ahora dice que su vida real y la vida online la está como desincronizada y bueno, está tratando de unir todo, y bueno, también por lo cual tiene el show que se llama Full Circle, que sale todos los miércoles por las noches a las 10 de la noche, como comentaba, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, para que lo tengan en cuenta, y lo pueden ver en todas las plataformas como OnLonely. Y para los que saben, OnLonely está muy enfocado en Farcaster, entonces ellos transmiten en vivo en OnLonely por, creo que dijo Twitch, Twitter, están en todas las plataformas.
Instagram, ya.
En todos lados. Entonces, sí.
Awesome.
Y bueno, Lawson es un fanático de los NFTs, también le gusta escribir mucho, y bueno, pueden seguir su trayectoria en ese sentido.
Excelente. All right, so real quick, Lawson, let's go ahead and talk about your night show. Vamos a hablar sobre tu show nocturno, Lawson. Full Circle. Why Full Circle, the name? And I will put a little bit of in it, something there, a little bit of spice. I mean, talking about math, mathematically, you have triangles, you have octagons, you have squares. Full circle, a circle. Why is circle?
Well, I didn't think about it. I wore this shirt, but like,
look at that.
That wasn't planned. But the idea of full circle originally came from all of our ideas in crypto and all of tech have been tried before. They've been tried in prior iterations of tech. Every social idea we've had in Web3 social existed when Bitcoiners were doing social apps in 2014 and 15. And oh, by the way, they existed on traditional non-crypto tech startups. And frankly, all of history. Basically all the themes is like, how do you make money? How do you hook up and like date somebody? And just pure entertainment. Like those are the three like categories, and humans have been doing that since the beginning of time. And so the idea of full circle is a little bit of a joke, but also a realization. It's like, did we just reinvent late night television? Right? Like that's kind of what we're doing, right? Like we're a video-based show. Y'all are a video-based show as well. Yeah, it's on chain, and yeah, it has a different angle. And you and Buenas Noches Farcaster and Full Circle are definitely trying to push the limits with what's next with the technology. But it's a little bit of like it's a humble statement that like, hey guys, like, we didn't invent like people watching a show at night, people being entertained at nighttime. They used to just go to the theater, or they used to go to the town square, and there'd be people to entertain them, whatever. And so Full Circle recognizes that most ideas are not new. They all rhyme. That's kind of the first primary thing. Over time, when we were talking about like, what is the content of Full Circle? In what it is like, the content is pretty out there. It has all sorts of types of segments, but I won't get into that. But the idea of the segments is simply, we're trying to capture the moment as we move from IRL to online, and to some of us to on-chain and back. And so it's still a circle. This like, all of us are very online. Some of us are also very on-chain, but we also live in the meat space. We go to events there's a Farcaster meetup in Lima. A whole bunch of people went to FarCon or Consensus in Dallas. We are all living different lives now. And so people ask us, is it a crypto show? And we say no. It's not a show about crypto. It's a show about capturing the moment in time where a lot of people happen to be starting to use crypto. Very similar to MTV in the 80s and 90s. MTV was capturing a moment of time that was interesting. And that's what we see the show is doing.
Correct. That's awesome. And just to add a little bit to that, I think it's a circle of what we're doing today, that even though we started back in 2021 ourselves, with you when we met, and all of a sudden 2024, 3 to 4 years later, we're circling back to, to us being together here. So I kind of understand your point. So yeah, everything is a circle.
Yeah, no, y'all were huge supporters of Rah Rah for a long time. I can never thank y'all enough for that. Really appreciate the invite out here to support and cross-pollinate maybe a little bit of audience and ideas.
Absolutely. Bueno, para traducir un poquitico lo que dijo el amigo Lawson, es de que, bueno, el show de Full Circle es algo que tiene que ver con la vida en cadena o en línea, y en la vida real también. Como dice él, que en los 90s el show de MTV fue un show o un canal que sacaron en esa época, y mucha gente lo veían como que algo raro, ¿no? Música para jóvenes, para otro tipo de personas. Entonces, bueno, las personas decían, ok, tenemos un show en la vida ficticia que es MTV, vemos los videos, vemos la música, pero a la misma vez también tiene los videos, o tiene la música y las fiestas en la vida real, que son los que tú vas para algún evento, alguna fiesta o alguna discoteca. A la misma vez también es un círculo en donde, que se convierte en un círculo en donde tú puedes tener una vida ficticia en la cadena o en la vida social, ya sea en el internet como Farcaster, como en aquel entonces MySpace, Twitter, Instagram, y viene y tienes estos grupos de amigos, como se puede decir, ficticios, ¿no? En cadena, y también tienes tus amigos en la vida real. Entonces, bueno, este show prácticamente el Full Circle lo que hace es de que él está hablando con personas o entrevistan a personas que están empezando a utilizar lo que son la Web3 o lo que son las criptomonedas como tal. Porque a él le preguntan, muchas personas preguntan, ¿este show se refiere o es todo sobre lo que es criptomonedas? Él dice que no, esto es para personas que no saben o no han usado las criptomonedas como tal. Entonces, bueno, Full Circle lo que hace es de que trae a las personas de la vida real para las cadenas o on-chain, como dicen en inglés, y bueno, le enseñan o lo guían a entrar a lo que es el mundo virtual de las criptomonedas o lo que es la Web3. Así que bueno, me encanta porque le dije al final que sí, la vida es como un círculo o como el show del Full Circle, porque en el 2020-2021 nosotros nos estábamos conociendo y de repente, bueno, dimos una vuelta o un círculo ahí adentro y aquí estamos otra vez. El mundo giró y dio una vuelta
Estamos
y
de
aquí
vuelta.
estamos. Y estamos de vuelta en el mismo círculo que eso. Así que tiene la respuesta de nuestro amigo Lawson.
Exactamente, sí. Acá lo tenemos, todo da una vuelta, todo gira.
Eso es correcto.
Estamos donde comenzamos.
Un círculo.
Sí. Mira, y lo cual lleva a mi siguiente pregunta, que más o menos por ahí entiendo lo que capaz ya medio está respondida, ¿no?
Okay.
Que quiero saber más o menos cómo eligen a las personas que invitan al show, o sea, cómo seleccionan. Lawson, can you tell us more about how do you guys choose or select the people that you invite to the show? Like, what is the profile of the people that you invite?
Yeah, so the show, one thing to note is it's not just a show. It's not a show about products. It's not a show about crypto.
No.
It's a show about people who happen to use crypto, who happen to be in the space. We have segments that are really all over the space. So the most simple segment to think about is we do a lot of profile segments. So artist profiles, for example. So Latasha or Baker Grace, or we have coming up for the season finale, Paper Buddha, or for tonight's episode, or Wednesday's episode, which will, this will come out on Friday, but is Rhyme Taylor. These are people with, we think, interesting storylines in the space, and we do whole segments around them and why they're relevant right now. It's both a combination of like, this person's story is interesting, but something is happening right now that maybe it's a good time to kind of help people know their story. For example, Latasha, she's a music NFT artist, along with, she used to run kind of the creator program for Zora. We did a profile on her after she had left Zora and was returning back to her music, and was really just talking to her about that. Like, what do you do next? Like, how do you keep pushing as artists, and trying to understand like what drives her as a person. Similar to a Wednesday show, doing a profile on Rhyme Taylor. He's a rapper. He raps, but he also builds in the space. He helps grow and he's helping. He works in a near ecosystem, launching products. And like, each of those stories are unique stories about like what they're doing and like more about that person. But like, the common theme is, how do you make it in crypto? Some people work for companies in crypto. Some people probably like crypto women, making money selling meme tokens, or dropping music NFTs. Everyone has a
different story.
Yeah, on how they are making it in the space. And
Correct.
A lot of the profiles, at least, are like diving into that story. Separately, we also have tons of other segments. We do first listens or first looks at NFTs. So before the NFT is out for release, we'll listen to the song with the artist. I'll talk to them about that. That segment's called Wanna Collect, a segment that I do intermittently. Lindau, she's in New York. She has segments. Last week, she released a decentralized merch segment. It's kind of like a fashion walk with like cool swag she got from crypto companies.
Nice.
She has another segment, Testnet Baddies, where she's testing products that are still in testnet or test flight, and kind of like reviewing it, not live, it's a recorded segment. She's going to the Greek Isles right now. She also has segments that are very real world-esque, kind of vlog-like. It's almost like it's like sometimes there are conversations similar to real world MTV. You're like, should I be watching this? Like, is this a public conversation? It's very real world vibes. While Sky Bravo, the third co-host, he does all the editing and production for the show, including all those segments, but he does full animated sketches. He knows other artists. One artist he knows that submitted to the show is Shakes Pepe. This is a Shakespeare Pepe character. It's a fully animated segment. He uses a lot of AI in this stuff. We have AI short films, AI music videos. We have a lot of AI segments, AI created segments or amplified segments.
Nice.
So again, part of this is like inviting the person to understand their story, but a lot of the segments are figments of our imagination. The segments are art too, we think. They're like artistic representations of the moment in time. They tend to be joking about something that's happening.
Nice. That's awesome. Great. That's amazing. I really like it. Now I get to understand more about the show too. Ok, bueno chicos, lo que comenta Alonso también acá es, bueno, le preguntaba que cómo eligen ellos a las personas, cómo son sus invitados al show, y bueno, él dice que para elegirlos son personas que están utilizando las cripto, o hay personas que están en algunos proyectos, entonces quieren saber el perfil de cada persona en su día a día, qué es lo que hace con las cripto. Por ejemplo, hay artistas que se dedican a vender NFTs, pueden vender NFTs, imágenes o de hecho música. Hay otros que son creadores de proyectos y así integran lo que son las criptos a su vida. Entonces más o menos esto es lo que ellos buscan, una persona que tenga una historia que contar, y bueno, ellos muestran esa faceta de la persona acá en este show, lo cual está interesante porque comentaba que hay varias personas, varios invitados que ya han ido al show y tienen artistas, hay un rapero, de todo, hay de todo un poco, músico, de todo un poco. Entonces
la amiga que hace la que hace los test flights en vivo, que hace su propio show también haciendo los test flights. Sí. Es algo, este show de Full Circle es muy interesante porque se trata más que todo de las personas común y corriente del día a día. Un tal José, un tal María, un Carmen o un Carlos, que uno esté trabajando en el restaurante como mesero, uno está trabajando como jardinero, pero a la misma vez se está incorporando en lo que es el mundo de las criptomonedas. Entonces, eso es lo que es el show, ¿no? O sea, no eres experto, pero estás aprendiendo y trabajas con tu trabajo del día a día como tal. O sea, no necesariamente tienes que ser un experto en las criptomonedas, y eso es lo que también a mí me gusta del show como tal, que cualquiera persona puede entrar al show. Lawson, as a third question, knowing you, I'll ask you the questions first in English and then I'll translate it. But knowing you, a little bit of a background on where you're coming from, how did the idea of making a show come about? Who came up with the idea, whether it was you or your friends? When did it happen? And why a show and not a crypto project, such an app, such as something like Rara back in the days, and that's the reason why I'm asking, knowing you, how it came about. La pregunta que le acabo de hacer a Lawson es que cómo ocurre la idea de realizar o de crear este show, ya que, bueno, Rey y yo lo conocemos de hace unos años atrás y él tiene experiencia como tal en las criptos. O sea, ¿y por qué crear un show nocturno o un late show y no un proyecto con criptos o una aplicación como tal? Esa fue la pregunta que le hice a Lawson.
Okay, so I want to break this up into two answers because there's like two different like rabbit holes. One is, and I'll let you translate it, and then I'll answer the second one.
Sure, no problem. Go ahead.
So the question you asked were kind of twofold. It was like, why create a show rather than another product or a protocol?
Sure.
And then the second one was, I think, more of a nuanced question, like, who came up with the idea of the show, and like, why a show?
Right.
And so the first question is like, the show is a product. And the show, we're currently in season 0x. It's a 60-day experiment. 9 episodes. Season finale is Wednesday the 12th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Come.
I'll be there.
And each episode, we go live each Wednesday with 3 co-hosts and anybody who may be in a profile. We go live, but we're watching these segments. And each of these segments are, y'all are about to get alpha. They're basically experiments for a spin-off show. Today, Full Circle is a single show, but in the future, Full Circle could be an entire program network, 24/7.
Gotcha.
And you know, that can take down a lot of rabbit holes, but we call it decentralized late night for a few reasons. A, it sounds cool, but B, what if we could create a decentralized late night show or a decentralized network? These are very early ideas that we're teasing out. You know, in product terms, you're dog fooding the product. You're trying to do it yourself before you productize it. I'm not sure where this idea goes in the context of like we're building technology to support the idea. My hunch is we will, and that will be labeled more product-like than a show would be labeled as a product. But my hunch is it's both. Like these things need to first entertain people and be exciting and add value to the internet and the space. But that can be supported by technology. And so, you know, the shift towards the show is definitely, I learned a lot as a founder with Ra, and you know, one of the key things I learned is like the next thing I launch will be capable of making revenue day one. And so every episode consists of multiple segments, and today each one of those segments is mintable. If you go to our Zora collection page, every segment that we've aired on episodes have anywhere from 3 to 8, 9 segments. Those are all collectible. We believe we are very early on basically video NFTs. It started off as art NFTs, then we had music NFTs, podcast NFTs are having a moment right now. But video is a different beast. You need a platform that's like focused on it. And so right now it's Zora, it's a generalized platform, but the ways that people can support us are collect the NFTs. Yeah, and there's a mint all button for like $50. You could own basically the entire season.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of a high price, but it's also a super low price. Like it's a lot of NFTs, and they're all wildly different and very entertaining. And so again, the show and why to create a show rather than a product. You can support the show right now, and it has the capability of making money day one. And I think that's something like it's a very good feedback loop, but also it allows for us as the co-host to not have the pressure of investors that a product would. You got to build a team of software people. It's more like, let's just make something cool and exciting first.
Right.
And, hopefully if we can make some money out of it in the future, great. But the primary goal right now is to have fun and create something that we feel like people love. And focusing on creating the show allows us to do that.
Awesome. Now, real quick, let me ask this. Now, when you said about being decentralized, are you keeping the line of freedom of speech when it comes to it? Like anybody can go ahead and go into the show and obviously not insult anyone or anything or do any verbal damage, but or harm. But can they speak about? Are they open to speak about anything?
So. For season 0X, we are experimenting with decentralized late night with one quick keyway. And what we say is we're decentralizing the mic. When we go to events, we have a camera and we have a mic with a logo on it. Right. And we've done this a few times. We'll turn the camera on, we'll hand someone the mic, and we'll say, "Tell us what's happening." And they'll be like, "Wait, who are you? What is this?" And we'll just say full circle. And they'll be like, "Well, what is full circle? I need to know who I'm representing." And they'll be like, "Decentralized late night." And then next thing you know, they'll be like, "Live from New York." And they'll just start blabbing about whatever the heck is happening. And so today, decentralized late night is you ended up with the mic in your hand and the camera's in front of you.
Right.
Some people will tell us about an event. Some people will go full character. One of the pilot episode or the next episode, we had this audio outside of a Bitcoin event at NFTYC. This person was an anon, and so they didn't want to release their face or their name, but they were fine with us using the audio. And and the audio was fucking gold. Like she just went off talking about some crazy shit. It was part this is the event and other thing, but she was also she was dunking on Ethereum people. She was just joking. She was just having fun.
Right.
So we animated this whole thing. We created this character, Bitcoin Femme, and we animated this, sketch of a person, or not even a person. It's like a monster. I'm not sure. It's a feminine monster, green-headed person talking about Bitcoin outside of this conference, but the voice is real, but all of the sketch, the visual of it is not. And so when we say decentralized late night, right now it's decentralized the mic. Season 0X ends June 12th, and we're going to go on holiday for the summer. You'll be able to watch reruns still at 10 p.m. Eastern. You can come 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll still watch the reruns live. Well, not live. It'll come on. It'll be still programmed at 10 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to go live again with season 0X2. And the goal of season 0X2 is to push the limit beyond the mic to could people create content for the show? So your question of free speech, this is not a free for all. There's still a curation element to it. Right. We will be curating what gets on the show. But in the future, could there be a token? Could there be a different mechanism for curating? Right? You're starting to feel stuff rhyme with rah-rah.
I've been biting my tongue on saying rah-rah the whole entire time.
All right, rah-rah, motherfucker. Sorry, bleep that out. I don't know if curse words are allowed on.
No, you're good. You're good.
But it's not a free-for-all. Things still need to be vibe relevant. Season 0X is all our content. We're slowly experimenting with the mic. But the reason it's all our content and how we curate maybe the audio or then with the mic is because we're trying to show people what we represent and what we look like what the show vibes are, to inspire people to hopefully create similar vibes, similar segments, things that basically it's one huge internet improv. we've done a whole lot of things, and ideally and hopefully that will prompt other artists to improv off of our improv.
Ok, bueno muchachos, las respuestas que nos ha dado Lawson, un poco larga, voy a tratar de resumirlo todo en varias palabras aquí porque bueno, el tiempo es oro y yo sé que Lawson está ocupado y tiene su proyecto también, entonces bueno, la razón del show es porque bueno, el show es un producto, obviamente nosotros conocemos a él como un creador de un proyecto que se llama Rara, él es el fundador de ese proyecto. Y bueno, obviamente ya después en un futuro él lo vendió y entonces bueno, ahora mi duda, mi cuestión era de por qué conociendo a Lawson, por qué un show nocturno o de noche y no un proyecto como tal de criptomonedas, no una aplicación, no una moneda, no un meme coin o algo así. Y es lo que dice, bueno, Full Circle es un producto también. Obviamente Full Circle no está ganando, no está trayendo nada de ingresos por los momentos, porque es un show que está empezando, apenas van por la temporada 0X, que es la primera temporada, y él dice que es un experimento por los momentos. Aparte de eso, en esa misma respuesta, él no está dando un alfa, ¿verdad? Que el alfa viene siendo es de que ahí van a haber varios spin-offs, ¿verdad? De esta primera temporada, que es la 0X, en la cual van a salir en un futuro varios otros shows, y dice que la idea de él es que mira, pueda que esto sea no un show nocturno como tal en la web, sino que también sea en la televisión y que corra las 24 horas del día con diferentes segmentos y diferentes entrevistas de todas estas personas que ellos entrevistan. Entonces, él dice que la idea por los momentos, bueno, que vamos a pasarla bien, vamos a disfrutarlo, vamos a tener un buen rato, un buen tiempo entrevistando a estas personas con este show, pero a la misma vez dice, bueno, ok, no estamos ganando nada, pero si la persona le gusta el contenido que nosotros tenemos, ellos pueden comprar toda la temporada 0X, dice por el monto de $50, creo que fue lo que él dijo, ¿no? $50, she said, right? Sí, ¿no?
Aproximadamente.
$50, y ellos están comprando toda la temporada completa en NFTs, o sea, como un NFT, y tú eres el dueño de esa temporada, de esos NFT como tal.
Sí, sí.
¿Okay? Pueda que sea un monto caro cuando dicen $50 por muchos videos, pero a la misma vez es un precio muy barato para un show que a lo mejor dentro de un año, 2 años, como dice él, se va a convertir en un show que salga en una televisión las 24 horas del día. ¿Okay? Entonces, bueno, la otra pregunta que le hice ahí media adentro, porque él hablaba mucho, él mencionaba mucho que él quería que el micrófono sea descentralizado como tal, y yo le pregunté a él de que si, bueno, hablando un poquitico de lo que es la libertad de expresión como tal, o que si va a haber algún no, o sea, un poco ahí de apagarle el micrófono a las personas que insulten o que maltraten a alguien verbalmente. Entonces él dice, bueno, no, cuando yo me refiero a lo que es la descentralización, es de que yo te dé el micrófono a ti y tú me dices qué es lo que está pasando en el momento. Un ejemplo que nosotros hicimos en Nueva York fue de que le dimos, agarramos, sacamos, porque dice, los micrófonos tienen nuestros logos, lo que es Full Circle, y tenemos una cámara con el micrófono y la muchacha. Y bueno, nosotros agarramos así, de la nada, te damos el micrófono, toma Ray, Full Circle. Y viene Ray y me dice, ¿qué carajo es Full Circle? ¿Qué es esto? Es lo que es Full Circle, esa es descentralización. ¿Qué es lo que está pasando en el momento? Y de repente viene Ray y me dice, bueno, estamos en vivo aquí en Nueva York, pasándola bien aquí en el Times Square, papá. Eso es lo que es la descentralización. Entonces, bueno, él dice que en algún momento, obviamente, nosotros no queremos que nadie se insulte, nadie se maltraten, pero bueno, eso es lo que vamos a tratar de hacer con lo que es el show de Full Circle. Así que a mí me encanta la idea y para dónde va, y más que todo con el spin-off y el alfa que él nos dio. Yo creo que ya la mente mía, cuando él dijo que él quiere que esto sea a las 24 horas del día en un network como tal, oye, ya yo me veo en uno de esos segmentos por ahí, que alguien me vea en la televisión con el show de Buenas Noches Farcaster, o hablando con Lawson por allá por México. No, I was telling the people, Lawson, in Spanish, is that when you told us about the alpha, the spinoff, is that I already saw myself. I kind of understand now what you're going with this, and I kind of saw myself either talking in the mic with you guys, or hanging out with you in Mexico, or just talking shit with Ray somewhere in Argentina, exactly. And see myself on TV sometime in the future. one of those episodes.
Yeah, so we'll be putting out like ways for people to get like logos and stickers. So like basically if you have a stick mic and the square that goes on it, you'll be able to put the stickers around it. And we want to encourage people, if there's a Farcaster meetup in Cordoba, Argentina, like, yo, go record content there, get it. Because that's fucking wild. Like people on your own show, let alone our show, would be kind of mind blown to see what the scene is like there.
For sure.
Along with y'all are artists, y'all are creative people. Like, you got a funny idea, you got an idea for a sketch, record the sketch, or animate the sketch, or create a song. Our most popular mints right now are Shakes Pepe and a song called Batty. Batty is the theme song for Testnet Batty. We also launched Batty Token. It was a temporary token on Unlonely. But the song is like, it's like very like, it's an earworm. I keep waking up hearing it. And
I remember the cookie song.
The cookie one, yeah.
Cookies make you looky.
Cookie made you, exactly, right? This shit is like addictive. And so we've had multiple musicians already like riff and jokingly create Full Circle a theme song. But that's the point of the show, actually. Like they did it as a joke. Y'all have one yet? I can make you one. But like also, y'all should make us one. We'll air it. Right. And that's kind of that's the show is a big ass prompt. We're trying to prompt people to have these type of conversations too, and also to joke with us, have fun. Like this, like doesn't always have to be so serious.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah.
I like it. I love it.
That's awesome.
Great. We have another question or so?
Yeah. So the second question. So the second question, why a show? So I think this maybe came out of the question podcast, right? We intentionally called a show not a podcast for a few reasons. One, we are a video-based show. We've thought about like just ripping the audio and releasing it as a podcast, and maybe at some point we do that. But the show, you really got to watch it to just get all the jokes and kind of like see it all. But also how the things we think about on the look of the show and how we release it is key as well. It is programmed at 10 p.m. Eastern. The segments you can mint on Zora are very different than the live show. Coming at 10 p.m. Eastern, you get the co-host, you get the banter around the segments, you hear from the artist about their profile, you see their face as they're watching their profile. The live experience is different than
absolutely
than the segments, and
right.
In the programming, it like the 10 p.m. Eastern is a time, and so in our heads, that's closest to something that was programmed. Like it's a show that comes on TV or the radio. It's like it comes on at a certain time. So that's the first key element. Like it comes on at a certain time. The second one is like, again, the look of the show. It's visual. It's not just sound, but you don't see a podcast mic in any of our faces. All of us may have one in the room, but that visual decision is a big one for us. Like we're trying to create something different that looks different than podcasts. Nothing wrong with it. Like Joe Rogan has 1 billion fucking followers, and he also has you can watch the Joe Rogan show.
Exactly.
But it is a show, but it looks like a podcast. It looks like a radio show to me. Like it looks like a radio show, and visually, we don't want it to look like a radio show. We want it to look like Total Request Live, MTV. And
correct.
So
I remember that.
We're just trying to get it to people to see it differently than a talk radio show. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I really remember TRL. So, and that was TRL used to come out like around 5 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
If I don't recall. 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah. The way one way I describe the show is like Total Request Live, real world, Adult Swim and something very on chain had a baby. It's kind of how I describe what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's great.
The only thing I like about Real World is the first season, and I think that's when Eddie or Eduardo, remember the guy that passed away from HIV?
Yeah.
AIDS. Yeah, that's the only season that I remember. That's the only season that I was able to watch, and that's that I watched, and because the rest of them were just nothing but drama. But I think the first season was mainly more like real. And then to find out that, the Cuban guy, passed away from, they were like, wow, and back in the 90s, I was just like, oh, Lord. So, so I do remember Real World. I remember MTV back in the day. So, yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully nobody passes away on the show, but we are attempting to have real conversations. Sometimes they're real funny ones, but also like, are you a shit poster? And like, what is your strategy for shit posting? Again, if you look at the pilot episode, the very first segment of the pilot was Lindau and the founder of Unlonely essentially calling each other out, but also talking about the idea of shit posting online. Like, are you doing it for the clout? And that conversation is a little uncomfortable, but like, it's also the reality of the space. Like, of course we're all shit posting. Like, that's kind of the point these days.
Exactly. Yeah. Bueno, él dice que la razón del show de Full Circle es como lo que hemos estado hablando en estos últimos minutos, es de que para que las personas se expresen, ¿no? Y vengan al show y la pasen bien. Este show, como él dijo anteriormente, no es un producto, y él más bien lo que quiere es que uno venga a pasarla bien y hacer comentarios o hacer sketches, ¿no? Para muchos aquí en Latinoamérica, los shows, que sí, el famoso show de Bienvenidos o show en Argentina, no sé qué show tan popular haya en Argentina. Él dice que, bueno, si tú sabes hacer un buen chiste o sabes decir un buen chiste, lo puedes hacer, no hay ningún problema. Y si hay alguien que necesita un buen chiste, alguien se lo puede hacer. Y si tú te conoces un sketch, lo puedes hacer, te puedes grabar y enviarlo a nosotros y nosotros lo podemos poner en el aire. No hay ningún problema por eso. De eso se trata el show más que todo, de pasarla bien. Entonces, bueno, ahorita al final él estaba comparando el show con lo que son los shows de MTV, como lo que era el Total Request Live o el del mundo real o Real World de los 90s. Que más que todo lo que es lo que él está tratando de hacer, esa pequeña mezcla, pero más que todo en lo que es la Web3 y en el internet, ¿verdad? Entonces, bueno, él dice que hace poco estuvo hablando con el dueño de la aplicación de Onlonely, que también es una aplicación de streaming donde hacen videos y hacen en vivo, y él dice, bueno, yo estaba hablando con él y nos estuvimos tirando unas punticas, él y yo, de aquí a allá, estábamos hablando mierdita a él y yo le hablaba mierdita a él, y discúlpeme la expresión, pero bueno, es lo que dice él. Y entonces, bueno, pero es la jodedera, dice, es la jodedera en forma de chiste, de jodedera, tú me tiras, yo te tiro y así sucesivamente. Y bueno, de eso se trata la vida, de pasarla bien y de vez en cuando tirar un poquitico mierdita por aquí, un mierdita por allá. Así que, pero pasándola bien. y nada, esa es lo que es la idea del show, y vamos a tratar de ponerlo allá afuera para que la gente conozca el fuso.
Qué bueno, sí. Y bueno, excelente el horario que eligieron como grandes shows. Así ya la gente está programada para saber el horario en el cual va a salir el show. Y bueno, para ir cerrando, no sé, creo que ya una última pregunta rapidito.
Sí, claro.
Para no hacerlo tan largo, entonces vamos a hacer una última pregunta a Lawson. Y como ya sabemos, entrevistan a diferentes personas aquí y allá, por todos lados. Bueno, me gustaría saber cómo eligen esos lugares, ¿no? Para saber dónde van a hacer esas entrevistas, sí, esos escenarios. So, Lawson, how do you choose like the place to record? Where do you record the show?
So you're talking about the segments. The co-host, I'm in Merida, Mexico, Lindau, New York City, and Sky, Nashville. We're always looking for ways to do segments around us. Mm-hmm. Sky's going to be doing Bitcoin Nashville in June or July. Lindau there's infinite crypto events happening in New York. So part of it's like, is something near us? And I haven't done one in Merida yet, but I have some artists, friends, and people I know in Mexico City that I'm probably going to try to hit up soon on the off season. I've met one guy who's from Merida. He doesn't live here anymore. Who's in the crypto space, and he said he was going to introduce me to some people. I need to follow up with him. But when we go to like a bigger event, it's more like we're there for a cultural reason, or sometimes for our day jobs, right? So, Eat Denver, I was going to be there for Mask and Firefly. Just became a really good time.
Right.
Linda was going to be there as well. And there were a lot of artists. The conferences allow for us to capture a lot at once. So we'll get event coverage, but we'll also we know Latasha's playing a show there, and so we'll be able to do a profile on Latasha. Like we always get like a cool Airbnb that looks good on camera. So we do these profile segments there, but then Latasha will come there, we'll get the show. But we'll follow Latasha to the show she does that night, and we'll be with her to get that footage around that to build the better profile around her. Mm-hmm. So we did the same thing with NFT NYC. We did that with Consensus last week. We're building profiles around people and artists in the space as well.
So it's really helpful that you guys are in different cities and you can cover more.
Yeah. We have one remote correspondent. She's in Japan. And so we've had correspondents from events in Hong Kong. We were going to get something in Dubai that didn't work out because it was flooding in Dubai.
I remember that.
Yeah. Unlike any industry pre-crypto, crypto just happens to be also at the moment of time where it combines the idea of people living online, but also working online. And as a result, on pre-crypto, like there were accounts and people I love to follow who were in India or Japan. They were all over the world, but you didn't have a huge reason to always interact with them. It was more like consuming them. Where in crypto, I just feel like there's more of an interaction because we all in one way or another work in the space. Some of this is our full-time job, but some of us are degen traders on the side or whatever. Like you're doing something to also make money in the space. And so it's important for us, for the show, to cover events across the world. And one of my dreams is I also want to release the show with potentially subs and dubs in other languages. The two languages I want to do are Spanish, but also I want to do Mandarin. I want to do Mandarin to Chinese as well.
Oh wow, nice!
And so we're too small of a team to pull that off right now, but we could use AI to. And with our own voices to redub the entire videos, and there's sure we can rely on subtitles on YouTube being translated and stuff like that, but I don't know. I think it's important for people to hear it in their native language. I appreciate y'all translating for me, because there's just nuances to stuff that are missed, and so. Yeah, it's a global world. It's a global space, and so getting those events in other continents, I think it's fucking cool. But also, I think it's necessary.
That's awesome. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah. So, bueno, acá estaba Lawson y ya comentó que él, más que todo, él está ahora en México. Creo que dijo que está en Mérida, en México. Otros de sus integrantes está en Nashville y otro está en New York, así que están divididos globalmente y eso los ayuda a estar en otros eventos que suceden en el espacio, como Consensus, lo que hubo en Eat Denver. Entonces, bueno, esos son los eventos que ellos apuntan a estar presencialmente para poder hacer esas entrevistas a esas personas que utilizan cripto en su día a día. Y bueno, también dice que le gustaría tener el show con subtítulos o ya la traducción ya hecha al español o al chino. Así que pronto tal vez vamos a ver el show de Full Circle en español, sin subtítulos, sin nada. Y bueno, con la ayuda de inteligencia artificial posiblemente. Así que está muy bueno lo que se viene para Full Circle.
Imagínate a Lawson tirando pata de Kung Fu, ¿eh? Imagínate a Lawson blanquito como él, un gringo. Ni hao, nang ning, nang, mang. Just imagine, white guy.
With regards to Spanish, I want like by this time next year, I hope I'm at a level to where I can have conversation with an artist in Merida or Mexico City in Spanish and have the entire segment in Spanish, but then subbed in English. Like personally, I want to do that for myself. But also we should have segments that are native to those languages. We actually have our second episode. I interviewed an artist in China, a musician, this super young guy. He was super dope. He did the entire interview in Chinese. And I was talking to him in English, and one of my friends who knew the guy, I set the guy up. He served as the translator live, kind of like what we're doing here, but the music still hits, even though he's a Chinese artist, and vice versa. Like, we shouldn't. I think not only should we not hold back on doing interviews or segments with people who speak natively other languages, we should also intentionally do more of those. It's something that I want to do.
True.
Coming soon, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Así que bueno, pronto Full Circle en español. Y no subtitulado, sino ya directamente al español. Ya Lawson se va a poner mejor con su español y ya para el año que viene ya estará fino.
Ya tenemos Lawson, so we already have a Full Circle Argentina.
There you go.
Ya tenemos a un Full Circle allá en Argentina.
Muy bueno.
Bueno, Lawson, sabemos que tu tiempo es oro y sabemos que tienes otras reuniones también en tu día. Más bien, te queremos agradecer por haber venido a lo que es el show de hoy con nosotros. Y bueno, Lawson, sabemos que también igual estás trabajando en otros proyectos, como lo mencionaste, Firefly, Mask y otros más. Rara también. ¿Qué te parece si en otra ocasión, en otro episodio, hablamos de estos otros proyectos que tú tienes ahorita trabajando activamente? We know that you are working on different projects, Lawson. I know your time is gold, so I'm sure you're a busy man right now, and we do not want to take any more time from your schedule. But knowing that you do work, with Mask, Firefly, Rara, and other projects, and also Full Circle. What about if and I know you already said that you'll be able to come, but we just want to go ahead and get you word in. How about if we can have you on a second episode to talk about those other projects to the Latin American communities?
Love to. Let's do it in the off season when in the summer. July would be a good timing. Totally down to do that. Again, Firefly, if you are in the App Store, Android or iPhone, Firefly Web3 Explorer, just go to firefly.land. You can download the mobile app to connect your wallet and follow everybody you want on Farcaster Lens. Cross-post to Lens, Farcaster, Twitter, collect all sorts of stuff. Pretty cool app. Definitely down to chat about that. Appreciate y'all invite me out. Definitely will come back. If anybody wants to follow us or find out more, again, I'm Lawson.fm. That is my website. You can follow me at LWSNBaker, Baker, on everywhere, Twitter, Farcaster Lens. And then the show is fullcircle.fm. Again, that's our website that has all our socials, links to Zora, etc. But on Twitter, we're fullcircle -FM or _FM. And then everywhere else, we're just at Full Circle. Excited to come out. This has been awesome. Fellow late night show.
Buenas Noches Farcaster. Yeah, definitely. Now, el último episodio, the final episode is next Wednesday, right?
The season finale, Wednesday the 12th, 10 p.m. Eastern. The show is every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Season 0X ends next Wednesday, but you'll be able to watch the reruns following Wednesdays. Along with, check out our YouTube. You can see everything there as well.
Excelente. All right, so one question is for Firefly, for all those people to download the Firefly, is it open for everybody or do they need an invite code?
It is open to everybody now. Anybody can get access to the Firefly app. There is exclusive privileges for people who have Firefly NFTs. So keep your eye out for those. But it is wide open now. Anybody can get into the app.
Excelente. Bueno, muchachos, a todos los que pudieron entenderlo o no pudieron entender, Firefly está abierto para todos, no necesitan código de invitación, pueden bajarlo en Android, iOS o iPhones y o en el desktop, en la computadora también, ¿ok? Firefly pueden hacer cross-post para sus cuentas como Farcaster, Twitter, también Lens y también tienen que tener también un NFT de Firefly.
There's native translations. If you see a post that's not in your language, you can translate in the app.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the other day. I was using it and I used it. Yeah.
What I like about the app is, go ahead. Disculpa, Rey.
Sí, que estaba mencionando que en Firefly tienen la opción de traducir lo que están viendo, la publicación. Así que no necesitan copiar el texto, pegarlo en el traductor, directamente le dan traducir y ya está.
Yeah.
Traducida la publicación.
Yeah, so that's translating tweets, Lens posts, Farcaster posts, articles on Mirror, articles on Paragraph.
Wow.
Go to firefly.land is the website. You can launch the app. There is a web app, or you can download the app.
Amazing.
Android,
excelente. Right? Excelente opción.
I was gonna say that I love the schedule events, the calendar. But with this now, you killed it. Game over. You killed it with the translation.
Yeah, that was key.
Bueno.
So a lot of the team is we have a team all over the world. A lot of the team is in China, and so we're building an app in many ways for ourselves. That's how we think about it. And so these things are basic for communities that are global, and a lot of other apps are not prioritizing these things, but we are. And so come check us out.
Awesome. Bueno, Lawson, gracias. Gracias por estar con nosotros y por estar con la comunidad de Buenas Noches Farcaster. Gracias, Lawson, por tu tiempo. Rey, ¿algunas otras palabras?
Nada más que darle gracias a Lawson por tomarse el tiempo de estar hoy acá con nosotros, por apartar ese tiempo en su agenda y muchas gracias por comentarnos todo lo que se viene con Full Circle y nada, nos esperamos próximamente para hablar sobre Firefly y más.
Gracias para la invitación, es muy especial para mí. Rey y Alex, gracias. And Buenas Noches Farcaster.
Ya saben, chicos, Buenas Noches Farcaster.
Buenas noches, Farcaster. Saludos.
Hasta luego.